Greetings everyone. So normally when I do these videos, I like to use a studio mic, put on the headsets and go real full out professional audio. So with this one, I have a little lavalier mic here. So I'm just going to talk about why you don't need a property manager and then get into when you do need one. So yes, I do have a property manager. I'll tell you a little bit about it, of why I feel you really don't need one. I have property. I have a building that's out of state, an apartment building I'm in New York. So this apartment building of mine is in Pennsylvania. I have an event space in New York, a few other properties in Florida. But I like to talk about this building specifically. And I had two property managers, and I found myself doing most of the work. Anytime tenants had an emergency, they would call me. Or if they call the property manager would call me. So then I thought about it. If they're calling the property manager and the property manager is calling me, why am I paying this person just to relay a message? Right? I thought it was ridiculous. I was wasting money. So also I had a property manager collecting rents for me. And now we live in a time where we have apps. So a lot of my tenants use Venmo. They use PayPal. And there's one more that they use. It's one of those apps that Chase Bank uses. But anyway, so I have 3 electronic ways my tenants can pay me rent. Some PayPal takes a little bit of a fee, but if you weigh that little bit of fee to what you're going to spend on a property manager, it's worth it. So why say you don't need one? First of all, if you have a property that you can get to within 3 hours, you don't need a property manager. Anything more than 3 hours, you need a property manager. But within 3 hours, I'll tell you why you don't need one. What you really need is a good contractor, at least 3 good contractors. One that does flooring, one that does electrical, and one that does plumbing. You need 3 good contractors to keep on speed dial or to establish a relationship with, a real good rapport with them. Because those are the 3 emergencies you're really going to get. Sometimes I had a tenant that would clog up the toilet with drug paraphernalia. Of course, I got rid of them, but would clog the toilets up, and I had to call Roto-Rooter. But I would call my property manager, and what the property manager would do was get there and walk Roto-Rooter around to find where to, get them to the tenant's apartment. And I thought about it. Do I really need him to do that? If the tenant is home, I could just have Roto-Rooter come out and let the tenant give him access. Also, like I said, electrical. And plumbing, electrical, whatever. Someone that could do any type of handyman stuff, flooring or anything like that you may need. Just have some 3 good contractors you can go to. As far as rent goes, collecting the rent, like I said, you can use apps for that. You don't need someone to collect the rent for you. And if you think you're saving money by not paying a little small percentage that some of these apps take, you're paying more by paying this person X amount of dollars a month. So I say you don't really need one. If any emergencies happen, like I said, I have those contractors I can call. Sometimes tenants just have to wait. And I'm not saying that's bad, like a so what to their needs. There's sometimes where it's just certain hours of the night that no one's going to come out and the tenant just has to be patient. There's sometimes when the weather is bad, like in the winter, if the roads are icy, it's below 0. They may have a heating problem where the place is just cold or the pipes froze. Those cases, what is a property manager going to do? They're not going to show up there and unfreeze the pipes. They can't do anything. They have to wait until a professional comes out and a professional handles the problem. So also why I say that is I had another property manager who paying this guy, and the tenants would call him over and he wouldn't even finish the job. He always had someplace else to go. He seemed to me more like he wanted to just be with his girlfriend all day. He'd always say, "Oh, my girlfriend needed this, my girlfriend needed that, I had to leave." And he didn't even tell me he didn't even have a car. So he was dealing with public transportation. So he would always have to wait for someone to pick him up. So a lot of times he couldn't even get to my tenants. He would make them wait. And then he'd be a no-show, meaning if he couldn't get a ride, he was a no-show. So I'm paying this clown every month to do what? And then he finally, the day I was going to fire him, he quit. Basically, I paid him to retile a tenant's kitchen because he claimed he can do it. He said, why hire a contractor? I can do it. I know how to do that kind of work. He gets to the house and the tenant knew more than what he knew. The tenant knew he didn't know what he was doing when he was laying the tile. So the tenant stopped him and said, you don't know what you're doing. And the tenant called me, and you know what the guy did? He said, wrote me this long text, how my tenants control me and have me wrapped around the thing, and he walked off the job. But he kept the money. I paid him extra, not just to manage the property. I paid him contractor work, like a fee. So he kept my money and walked off. And I said, listen, you can feel however you want to feel about the situation, but you didn't do what I paid you to do. But I didn't argue with him. I said, listen, keep the money. I'm not going to go back and forth with you over this, because I know history has shown me that people like that, they wind up playing themselves. They never get far. They always stay in that same position. They're in a scavenger position the rest of their lives until they understand what accountability is and they have some type of follow through. And then the third property manager that I got, or I was going to get, I was doing a little testing this person out. And they were supposed to come to one of my tenants' apartments just to repaint the place, but just to do a quick walkthrough to see what needed to be repainted. My tenant had to go to work and couldn't stick around. This person tells me, well, if your tenant isn't home, I'll just drill a lock out and just replace the locks. I said, whoa. You're not going to go into my tenant's apartment without my tenant being present and them knowing that and removing their locks and giving them a key. I can get in trouble for that. Don't worry about it. Nothing's going to keep me from getting in that apartment. So, that didn't work out. So with those experiences, and then the first property manager I had that I got rid of, I had flooding in the basement, and I had my insurance company coming out to just make sure that the home, everything I put in the application was credible before they insured the home. He was at the home the day before in the basement and saw that there was a leak. Didn't say a word to me. So the inspector gets to the building, goes in the basement and sees this leak and walks out and raises my insurance and said they're not gonna cover me until that's fixed. Now, you're supposed to be the property manager. You're supposed to let me know. You're there. I'm all the way here. Let me know all of that before the inspector came out. But see, that told me that no one's going to love your property as much as you do. It's your investment. No one's going to respect your property the way you do. That's your investment. So unless you find someone you can really trust, you are better off managing your own property. Learn the hard way. I learned the hard way. There was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of threats from tenants, a lot of dealing with code inspection. I went through hell with that, and I learned. I've earned my stripes. Now I feel like I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about when I tell you that if you can drive to your property within 3 hours, you do not need a property manager. And if you're going to get one, be very specific of what it is you expect of them, because a lot of them will tell you, I don't do that. And then you'll have to ask, well, what do you do? What am I paying you to do? Because that's how I felt with the ones that I had. I didn't know what, paying one guy wanted $150 a month per apartment, which is incredibly crazy. Most property managers only charge between 8 to 12%. I think this guy was charging me 30%, which is, I said, that's unheard of. Then he gave me like a whole two-page long email of what all he did. And he didn't do any of that. Maybe like not even 1/3 of what he had in that email did he know how to do. People will say you anything. Remember, you have so many property managers grow on trees these days. Any fool without a job feels they can manage a property. They think it's really just that simple. They don't understand the dealing with personalities part of being a property manager. You have to be someone that can talk to people. You have to be able to speak to the tenants, whether you agree with them or not. You have to be that mouthpiece that between the tenant. You have to be that communication between the tenant and you. They have to be the communication between the tenant and you. And if the tenants don't like them, or if they don't know how to speak to the tenants, then that's going to reflect bad on you. The tenants lose confidence in you. So anyone can thinks they can be a property manager. You're the best property manager for your property. You're the one that's paying the mortgage. You're the one that's paying the taxes. You're the one that's paying the utilities. Like I pay the water, sewer, and trash on mine. And another thing I saw is that the property managers are supposed to maintain the property. I had trash calling me that there was garbage dumped out in front of the house for over a week and they were leaving it. So what was I paying this property manager to do? So he would just leave. Then he would tell me, "Oh yeah," and text me pictures of the trash outside. Like, so what good is that doing me? You texting me pictures. I know the trash is outside. I've been told that. Show me the pictures. Just proving to me the trash is outside. This is why I say you don't need one. The technology today, get cameras installed. I put a camera in the basement and one outside the home to just see anyone that's coming in the yard. You can manage the property from your cell phone. If technology is really that good, you can manage your own property from your cell phone. Anyone that rings the doorbell, you could get one of these doorbell cameras. So when anyone visits the house, you can see who it is from your phone. You can put one on top of the if you have multi-units or you own the building like me, you need at least 3 cameras. I would say one on top of the house that gets a good scope of the entire property, maybe one in the back, and one anywhere else that you feel you need to keep an eye on. And you could and with the apps today, like I said, you can be your own property manager. The 3 things you need to be your own property manager. You need technology. That's technology as far as apps go. Your tenants can pay you their rent through apps. You need cameras installed. You can get cameras installed or just motion sensor cameras that take still shots anytime someone moves. If you can't afford to have just video cameras going all day, you could get the ones that only detect movement and take shots. That's all that you need. Once again, you need apps so you can collect the rent. You need cameras to monitor the place, and then you need maybe 3 good handymen or contractors that you could deal with anytime there's any repairs that need to be done. That's all you really need. You can do that from Mars. You don't need someone near the place to do that. With Skype and FaceTime, you can speak to your tenants just the same way I'm looking in this camera right now on YouTube. You can talk to your tenants and they can see you, and you can have that personable interaction with your tenants. So once again, you really don't need a property manager unless you have property that's more than 3 hours that you cannot get to. Then I would suggest getting a property manager. At least for 3 hours, if anything goes wrong, you can still get out there. No matter how late, give yourself some time, whatever, first thing in the morning, whatever. You could take a day off. You could go on a weekend. You could still go out there early in the morning and still come back home later on in the day. It doesn't require you flying out there and booking any hotel or any accommodation. So that's it. Like, share, follow, subscribe. That's it. Bye.